Okay, hello. Happy Wednesday, December 17th. My name is Alexandra Puga, and I'm in Mexico City in the Biblioteca Vasconcelos, I think it's called. It's a very popular library, super cute. This is me starting a project or announcing a project. So I've been traveling. I came here for Bad Bunny concert, haha. And I came with friends, but I've had an idea for a while in my head. It's a special project that I want to start. So now that I have some solo time, I wanted to just, I guess start it. I've filmed this whole trip already, and I love, to travel. I think my first trip, out the country, I would say, was to Honduras. After my cousins moved back to Honduras, because they lived with me first growing up, and they went back to, be in with their dad. I was really sad because, I grew up with them. They were my siblings, and so every summer or every other summer I started to visit. And the first time that I went was with a travel or one of the people that work on the planes, one of the hermosas. That, obviously changed me. It was in the summertime. I was just live, laugh, laughing with them. And then they sent me to Peru to visit my family there too, and I'm very thankful for them for grounding me in not being afraid of their little 10-year-old only child to travel alone. That really opened up my eyes to, how big the world is. And in high school, I went with one of those programs. It was called The Experiment, to Thailand. And it's because my cousins had gone to Thailand, and I was like, oh, I didn't know what country to go to. Let me just go there. And so I went with a bunch of strangers from around the U.S., and a lot of them are white. But there was one Latino guy from the Bay, so I kind of connected with him. But I think that was also really eye-opening to be in a Buddhist country, and I have yet to go back to like a country that is, I guess, predominantly like another religion other than Catholic, in Latin America. But that was really an eye-opening experience, and I got to see a lot, even like very rural mountain, like I guess communities. Like I lived with a lot, like 2 families. And I think Chiang Rai, that's a little bit out the way of Chiang Mai. I lived with the family. The little girl was super cute. And the dad reminded me a lot of my dad. And I even planted like rice in the field. Like we had like boots and everything. And that was really just such a fun experience. I even became a monk. They had us waking up at 5 a.m. I have the worst picture of me in the world. I mean, it was a funny picture, like with my double chin. And yeah, it was so hard to just sit still for an hour, and I didn't realize that. So, Buddhism has a lot to do with like peace. That was just a very unique experience to be at a monk retreat. So it just really just opened up my eyes to different ways of living and different traditions. And ever since then, I have literally loved to travel. I decided in college to study abroad in Nottingham, England. And I don't know why I chose another like first world country that speaks English as a country, but the reality is my cousins studied or they were studying, one in Spain and another one in Germany, and I had a family that I hadn't seen in like 15 years from Germany. I have a tia, my tia Nora, my tio Tinoco, and my prima Milcar, my prima Nadia, and my prima Ada out there, and Mon as well, and Leo, who was in Germany at the time, and Paula, that was in Spain. So I really wanted to be near them. But tell me why it's always like separated by borders, because by the time that I got to like live in England, I wanted them to come visit me, like see my dorm and stuff. Tell me why England had put like a visa, like like a visa for Hondureños to travel there. I was pissed, let me tell you. And because even growing up, when they left Honduras, they couldn't come back to visit me because they just, I don't think they would have been given the visa even if they applied for it, because they were Hondureños, and it's very hard for Hondureños to get it. But actually, fortunately enough, one of, I guess, one of the most special days of my life, I'm telling you, is when me, Leo, Paola, and my mom and Elena as well were able to meet after 13 years. So basically, Leo and Paola hadn't come back home for like maybe 8 to 13 years. But when they went to study in Spain and Germany, they requested for the US visa and they were able to come that way because it's just a lot easier to get it as like a student in Europe. It's dumb. It's discrimination. But regardless, like I still like was so happy. And actually, I think the day was February 1st, 2023, and it was Paula visited me in January, and Leo and Elena visited me in February, and there was only one day that we all met up together. And I think it was just very healing for me that day, because it was a day that I feel like as a kid I dreamed about, because I was very sad when they left. But I was always fortunate and lucky and thankful that I was able to visit them in the summers. But a big part of me also wanted to be able for them to come back home and visit me. But yeah, after 13 years they came back, and it's just so emotional because being separated by borders is just something that has robbed me of a lot of relationships, and immigration too. Like all of my grandparents are dead now, and I did not really have a relationship with them. And versus if I were to have been raised in either country, I would have had a lot stronger bond. And so I think it's just all of that combined with me like having the privilege to travel. It's a bittersweet. I feel guilty at times. But the reason why I bring all of this up, I have been able to travel with my mom because she had temporary protection status, and actually I was able to travel a couple times with her to Honduras, but I haven't been able to travel with my dad out the US. We've done trips to Hawaii, Florida, like Seattle together. That was probably one of my best trips with him for his birthday. And yeah, my dad just loves traveling just like me. He's probably my favorite travel buddy. He's just open to anything. And yeah, I just see him the most happy when he's traveling. And I think as an only child who always felt very lonely, traveling was probably one of the things that kept me like very happy. Just bringing all of this up, traveling has been something fundamental in my life since a very young age that has connected me with my family, with my roots, with people. Like, I guess somebody was saying it, like being like here in like Latin America, it's like un calor, like a warmth of the people that you just don't feel in the US. Like everybody's just on their own thing. And a lot of times that I travel, all of the great stories that I have to share, I wish other people were here with me. And so like my parents, I would love to experience their families. And I'm happy for the people that are able to travel with their parents. But I wanted to start a project, a YouTube channel, a persona, in 2025 at the end, called I Wish You Were Here, for not only traveling but just advice as a first generation Latina growing up in the US, coming from a mixed status family, reflecting, or just I don't know, anything educational, how I've been able to fund my education, because I think I want to be an example for my future generations, my younger cousins, just to remind women of how powerful we can be and to not be afraid to chase our own dreams. So I wish you were here, and I hope that this is a space of belonging, a space of learning, growing with me, aging with me, learning new languages together, new customs, because I know a lot of us can't travel, but if it's something that I have been able to use is social media to connect with others. And I want to connect with people who are like-minded. I want to do podcast style videos, not only about traveling but first generation, the experience, I don't know, just being a woman and just learning more about the world. And together I'm really excited for this personal project. I feel like I am an entrepreneur. I start so many projects. I started Alexa's Delights in 2020 during a really confusing time. I just am an entrepreneurial spirit for my personal creative freedom and to create my own community online. I hope you feel a sense of belonging, of growth, of knowledge. Stick around for more. I'm so excited. And yeah, it's my time to go though, to find some books and hopefully one day find an actual book of my tío abuelo. I'm gonna go look at the catalog because he used to write really good poesías and a lot about, I guess, Honduras government, corrupt government. He was, he spoke really eloquently, and that's also something that I want to learn in Spanish. Cómo desarrollar mi español para poder hablar más fluido. Yeah, fluido. Entonces, yeah, gracias. I just wish a lot of people were here experiencing my growth. And yeah, thank you for listening. Bye.